Welcome to Lead with AC episode 7. Today we're continuing our leadership series titled COVID Lessons. If this is your first time with us, thank you so much for joining us. Lead with AC exists to add value to you. My vision is to influence world changers. My mission is to inspire you to become a better you. Why? Because when you get better, the world gets better. If you haven't subscribed, this is a great time to go ahead and do so. And if you know anyone that might benefit from this, I'd love for you to share this with them as well. Today, we're going to take a look at 3 more lessons COVID has taught me or reminded me of. Last week, we did the first 3 lessons. If you haven't watched that, I want to encourage you to go ahead and do it. But these lessons stand on their own, so you don't have to go do that right now. But there will be lessons that will definitely help you on your journey forward. I'd love for you to leave me a comment about what you've learned because of COVID. I want to close this series by sharing the comments that you guys have said about the lessons that you have learned. I believe with all my heart that these lessons will help us during this season and beyond this season. What you build today will determine where you stand tomorrow. What you build today will determine where you stand tomorrow. And my hope is to help you start building today what you need for tomorrow. Today is when we're building the habits and patterns that will shape our future. Most people don't realize that their lives consist of patterns, and that it's often their patterns that keep them trapped in the cycles that they want to break free from, or that keep them away from what they want in life. The good news is that you are one decision away from changing your world and your life, and you can make that choice today. And for some of us, we're really just one decision away from changing our entire future. And this next lesson could be one that changes the way that you live forever. So what's the lesson? Here it is. Manage your time. This is by far one of the most important lessons that you and I need to learn to build the future we desire. The reality is that we will either manage our time or our time will manage us. We will either manage our time or our time will manage us. If you want to make the most of your life and build it around the things that matter to you or the things that you want to accomplish, then it will begin with how you manage your time. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. This is really difficult for me. And I have, I'm sure for some of you it is as well, and will continue to be. Here's where my struggle lies. I schedule my day with the tasks I need to accomplish that day, which is a huge blessing and something we all should do. But I struggle to stick to my desired routine at night. You see, there's always a game to watch or an interesting YouTube video to continue watching. And that always leads me to go to bed later than I desire, hindering my desire to wake up early and start writing and growing. See, when it comes to managing my time, this is an area where I am still growing and I need to constantly discipline myself in. If I lag on it, I end up paying for it with stress, with too many things left on my plate to do, with cutting out some of the good things that I want to do. And ultimately, I end up feeling disappointed and discouraged that I haven't been able to do what I really wanted to do, wondering if I will ever be able to do what I want. Now, on the opposite spectrum, when I manage my time, schedule what I need to do or want to do, and stick to it, I find myself truly productive. That leads me to number 1, feel good about myself. But also, number 2, it leads me to feel like I'm contributing to the good of the team that I'm on, which feels great and uplifting for me and for the team. And at the end of the day, because I manage my time, I end up doing things that bring life to me, like playing with my kids or having time to do other things I enjoy without feeling that dreadful feeling that I'm supposed to be doing something else. So here's the action step that I'm asking you to do. Schedule what matters to you and schedule what must get done. As Michael Hyatt and Daniel Harvaki say, what gets scheduled gets done. It doesn't matter what it is, writing, date night, hanging out with friends, going out to coffee, making phone calls for sales. If it is important to you, you need to pencil it in on your calendar so that it gets done. Otherwise, you will find yourself drifting in your life and feeling like you have no control of what happens to you. Or you will feel overwhelmed by how much you still have left to do. This also means that you're going to have to learn to say no to things that don't fit your schedule. Some of those things might be good, but you're still going to have to say no to them. You will feel pressure to say yes, especially if you struggle with people pleasing or with FOMO. But you got to stick to your guns and say no to everything else that doesn't fit your schedule. Listen, I know this doesn't feel good to think for some of us, but trust me, you'll get over your feelings of saying no to people and things once you do that, once you do what you really needed to get done. Plus, you will also feel more productive about your day and happy that you said no so that you could do what matters to you most. Plus, if you're really struggling with saying no to people, think about this. If you have a schedule, then you could always respond with, can we do it on this day at this time instead? Or you can say yes to their request while knowing what you will lose by saying yes to whatever someone asked of you. If you don't manage your time, your time will manage you. And that will rob you from feeling like your life is meaningful and purposeful. It will rob you of growing and from doing the things that matter and that bring life to you. And I don't know about you, but this COVID season threw gasoline to my already busy life and made my time feel uncontrollable at times. I've worked longer and harder in this season than I have in other seasons of my life. I've put in more hours and done a lot more work because the season required it. And that's fine when it's a season. But a year into COVID, I'm still going the same way. It means it isn't a season. It's now a routine. Before COVID hit, I wasn't scheduling my life like I should have. And you know what happened? I felt like I was a working machine. Doing, but without a plan and without an end. I was doing without a direction or clear end goal, which often led me to feel like what I needed to do was not getting done and was instead being replaced with what felt like the immediate need. There were things I needed to do, but because I didn't schedule my life around them, what ended up happening was that I robbed my family, my wife, and myself from truly being there for them and from being there for myself. And there is only one resource we cannot gain back, and that's our time. You can lose money and gain money. You can lose and find a job, but time, that we can't get back. This is why I'm really digging down on this point, because I want you to feel it. You can't get back the time you've spent. It's gone. It's also why I strive to add value to you, because right now, this might be free, but you're paying with your time, and I'm paying with my time as well. And COVID has robbed us of so many opportunities already. Opportunities of traveling, of exploring new places, opportunities of meeting new people, of going out with friends. I know this season has made many of us feel out of control because we can't control what happens with COVID and what we're allowed to do depending on where we live. But the good news is that when it comes to your time, you have control. No one else should have control over your time. You have control over what you allow on your calendar, when you allow it, and even who you allow in it. So if something in your life matters to you, and if it is worth your time, schedule it. What gets scheduled gets done. Again, I'm not just talking about work, but about family, hobbies, game night, the things that matter to you and that bring you life. That's what you want to schedule in. If it's important to you, schedule it. Now, I know some of you are thinking, dude, relax a bit, bro. Like, don't be so uptight. Or you can't be serious that you want me to schedule almost everything in my life, bro. I'm a free spirit, man. Take it easy on me. And I feel you. I used to think the same thing until I started realizing that the things I wanted to do and that mattered to me were being replaced with things that robbed me of doing them and with things I didn't want to do. And then I realized an even darker truth. If you don't manage your schedule, other people will manage it for you. You will find yourself saying yes to things you should have said no to. And you will find yourself feeling out of control, overwhelmed by the amount of work needed to be done and what feels like a lack of time. It's up to you if you want to feel that way. Plus, let me let you in on another little secret about managing your time. Not only will you feel more productive, but you will find that you actually have more time to do what matters to you because you schedule intentionally what needed to get done. So manage your time or it will manage you. Here's our action step in a short form. If something is important to you, schedule it. Lesson number 5, focus on what matters. I know that one thing COVID has done for me is to remind me of the fragility of life. Life is but a short breath. And you might be young thinking, I've got a lot of life ahead of me. But the reality is that life waits for no one. And your life is made up by the decisions that we make today. Our life is made one decision at a time. What I choose right now and then what I choose later eventually becomes the story of my life. And if we don't focus on what matters to us, we can spend a lot of time in things that at the end, we won't really care for. We can unintentionally waste our lives. And I know that you don't want that for your life. I don't want that for your life either. And we can, without wanting to, never start the race that was set out for each of us to run. See, you aren't like anybody else, which means you have your own race to run or your own path to carve out. Your life has purpose and is intended to go in a certain direction. You're uniquely shaped to contribute to those around you and to do this and to this world. Even your weirdness and quirkiness are a benefit to all of us because at least it's going to make us all laugh. And I get it. You might feel like you're just one individual, a small person who is just starting out or trying to start out. But here's the thing. Inside of you, there's power to change the world. You are a world changer. You can change the world. But the question is, do you believe it? Listen, when you step into your purpose, you will inspire others to step into their purpose. And together, we can transform this broken world. I know for some of you that sounds far-fetched, that you can change the world, but the reality is that everything you like today, think of the iPhone, for example, began with one person who focused on what mattered to them and could see how it could benefit other people. Then they were able to bring up others alongside of them, and together they accomplished what some people thought was impossible, or what some people could never have imagined could happen. See, everything is impossible until someone does it. And the people that have done the impossible did it because they focused on what mattered to them. And they gave their energy to that. Now, I said in part 1, episode 2, that you are more than just you're doing, that you are a human being, not a human machine. And I meant by that part 1 of COVID lessons. Your life is not just about your doing, but about who you are. It is about who you are becoming, and you are always becoming someone, whether you know it or not. You're a complex individual with different desires. Your life is composed of more than just your doing. Your life is composed of different domains, and each domain affects how integrated, how happy you feel. And each domain has important things that matter to you. And the truth is that we live in an age where entertainment and distractions can pull us away from what truly matters to us. And if we want to make the most of our lives, then we must live intentional lives and keep at bay those things that keep us from what we want. You know that everything around you will tempt you to fill your time with things that won't matter to you in 5 to 10 years. Sometimes those things won't even matter to you 5 to 10 minutes later. We can always find something to do, some way of filling our time. We can spend hours scrolling through social media or browsing Netflix. We can even do that to avoid boredom. And I'm not opposed to binge watching a show. I do it too. I'm not opposed to browsing Netflix or playing video games. I'm opposed to you not knowing what matters to you. I'm opposed to seeing you go through life without knowing what makes your heart beat. I'm opposed to seeing you waste your life. I want to see you become who you were called and meant to be. And if you don't know what matters to you and focus on it, what will happen is that you will waste the precious resource we can't get back, your time, in things that were just a distraction. And then life can become something like what you want, you never get, and you never get it because you're never focused on what mattered to you. And now you feel like time is running out and you're running a race you can't win. So ask yourself right now, what is it that matters to me the most? Pause this if you need to and write it down. Put it on your phone or on a piece of paper. What is it that matters to me the most? Write it down and then build your life. Schedule your life around that. Focus on what matters so that you can live the life you desire. Lesson number 6. Never, ever stop dreaming of what could be. I know that for some of us, this has been a dark season, a hard season. But for others of us, this has been a season of rebirth, a season to dream and plan for the next season, a season to set ourselves on the path we desire to be on. So even though it is a hard season, even though things are difficult, we still must believe that things will get better, because they will. And even with all the difficulties that you might be facing today, you must never, ever stop dreaming of what could be. It doesn't matter how old you are, you always can dream a new dream. And the dreaming is the first step of building the life you desire. It is in dreaming of the possibilities of what could be that we find hope for today and new ideas for tomorrow. It is in imagining your life as you want it to be 2 years from now or 5 years from now that will lead you to finding the direction that you need to go towards. That will give you clarity towards where you need to run. And when you have clarity of where you're headed, start walking towards it. Position yourself to attain it. Don't let the fear of the how will I do this or the urgency of the moment drown out what you need to do in order to get to where you want to go. Let me give us a question to think about, to reflect on. Is my life leading me towards the direction that I want to go in? Or is it leading me towards more of the same old thing that I don't want for myself? As I said before, you have a unique purpose in this world, something that only you can contribute to others. And if you don't think of what that could be, then you will continue to drift along through life and end up where you don't want to go. No one drifts to where they intended to go. You must direct your life towards where you want to go. Let me tell you the question that led me to do what I'm doing today. One day at Starbucks, I asked myself, what do I want to do when I'm 45 years of age? What do I see myself doing and enjoying? And that question changed my life forever. At the time I asked this question, I was a musician and a college dropout. I thought music was all I ever was going to do. And then I started thinking about, wait, when I'm 45, I don't really want to be traveling around trying to do music shows. I want to have a family. I want to settle down and do something where I'm investing in people. And what was my answer at the time? I saw myself teaching people, helping them to grow in the way that they saw themselves, thinking about the big questions of life, because those questions often lead us to places we didn't imagine before, and the answers to them can become guides to where we are headed in life. So I went back to college and worked, and I did music, all at the same time. During that time, I was a married man. I still am. I was very busy. I started raising some children, and it was very hard. But you know what? I knew where I was headed, so I was able to persevere towards it. And I knew what I needed to do to get to where I wanted to go. And it all began with a hard question and with dreaming of what could be. Eventually, I got my BA and then went on to get an MA, and I got to the position that I'm in today because I had the courage to never, ever stop dreaming of what could be. I still haven't stopped dreaming of what could be today. And yes, there were some changes and redirection along my journey, but those changes and redirection were done to actually align myself with my purpose and who I am called to be. Actually, this moment right now, it's a moment of me dreaming of what it could have been like if I had someone who had mentored me, advised me, believed in me, encouraged me, invested in me. And that led me to start dreaming of what it would look like for you to find someone who wants the best for you, who believes in you, who invests in you, and who could share his life with you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, so that you could become successful and live out your purpose. I don't just want you to go through life and then die. I want you to thrive, to grow, to win, to love. I believe there is more in you that you know, and I want to draw that out of you. So never, ever stop dreaming of what could be. You're never too old to dream a new dream. It doesn't matter how hurt you have been by life or what people did to you or said to you. Start dreaming. Everything is impossible until someone does it. And you could be the one that does something that no one else imagined because you dreamt. You were brave enough to dream and then move in that direction. I know life might have been hard and dreaming could feel hard. But dream anyway. Because I believe there is more for you. And as you begin to dream of what could be, I know that it will lead you to position yourself on the path that you need to go towards to. And that will bring fulfillment to your life. So never, ever stop dreaming of what could be. Dreaming of what tomorrow could be like will lead you to see what you need to do today to get there. If you haven't subscribed, this is a good time to do so. Let's journey together through life. Let's schedule what matters to us. Let's focus our lives on what matters and schedule our lives around this. And then never, ever let us stop dreaming of what could be. Until next time, AC out.